Okay, let's talk about Bitcoin and let's talk about Mara stock. Am I bearish or bullish on both of these assets, right? I'm going to break them down. I'm going to break down how I'm viewing them just in my own personal opinion, what I am looking for myself. And then from there, we'll look forward on how not just the price unravels, but how we can modify our outlook as well to not just take advantage of what we are looking for, but to potentially keep an eye on early signs that things can be changing. Now, I'm not going to show any articles. We all know what's going on right now, right? It's a very optimistic market. We're starting to see signs of weakness. Although, is this just super temporary? Are we going to go higher or lower? That's what I want to try to break down. But we got to keep in mind that this CPI report that came out very recently, um, it wasn't great. And if you break down the numbers, it shows that actually tariffs weren't the biggest impact on the rise in CPI that we saw recently. So with that in mind, we got to keep also in mind that the FOMC meeting with Jerome Powell is coming up real soon. It's going to be here very soon, and you guys can check out the economic calendar if you want to know exactly when it's going to happen. But um, it's basically mostly guaranteed as much as possible, guaranteed without being guaranteed that Jerome Powell is just going to be he's going to say what he's always been saying, which is waiting for more information, waiting for you know more evidence that CPI is coming down, and then wait to see how CPI now reacts uh, throughout for the next report, right? So you want to see if this is just a temporary jump in CPI or if it's just if it's gonna start coming down, right? So we're not gonna see a rate cut most likely, but let's see what happens. So I'm gonna go over Bitcoin first because then it will allow me to illustrate stuff that can be translated into Mara as well in a moment. And I don't think, as of right now, we still have one more trading day for this week, so I don't think I'm going to be holding any positions over the weekend, and you guys will see why I believe that. So recently, right, we've been Bitcoin has been trading, it's been hitting our support resistances very well, and I'm going to go over it again in case you guys are new. But basically, we were keeping an eye on support within this area. It found support. It started rallying up into our resistance area. We started seeing weakness, and we're still seeing weakness within the red resistance area, which is just a simple. All of this is simple retracements and simple extensions using the fib tool. So I told everyone yesterday, I'm like, even before we actually came down into the white, I told everyone like, hey, we finally came up into resistance. We could potentially see a fluctuate within this area. Try to find support within the next retracement, which would be a smaller picture support to allow the price to potentially go up higher. Now, in order for us to keep the momentum down into the more important support area, which is where I really want to start accumulating BitU once again aggressively to open up another trade. If you guys want to see the last BitU trade, just look for the thumbnail. It says 7K profit or something like that. That's the day I closed it out. But I'm still looking for prices to eventually come down into this area, somewhere between 105 and 115K. Ideally, I want to see the price flirt with 110 to come into this overlapping fib extension to the downside, right? That overlaps with the retracement. So with that being said, we found support within the smaller picture support area, and now we're going up higher, but we're still holding within the original retracement. Price is weakening, and as you can see, it's struggling to break above the 0.618 retracement at $120, $120,300. So we're still seeing that weakness, and I said that even if we hold this area, I don't want to really see the price break over the overall swing high, which at the moment is all-time high. I want to see it can absolutely bounce, and it can come up, try to max out this red area a little bit, which it did, but overall, the momentum, I want to see it build its way back down, right? So a lot of weakness can happen because, again, CPI was a bit higher, and now as we let this information digest, a lot of investors and traders might become bearish, leading into the FOMC. And if we see the price weaken all the way up to FOMC, then if Jerome Powell isn't super hawkish or anything, like, we could see a rally after that. But it's just my opinion. It's way too early to tell. We have a lot of time to let the price present itself in different structures to get a better idea of what kind of news event it's going to be. It's going to be another sell the news, or if it's going to be a buy the news, regardless if expectations are met or not. So we have a lot of time to let the price play out. So until then, we're just keeping an eye. You can even use another simple retracement tool here to see if we hold it. But regardless, I want to see if the price can hold below this overall swing high. One more trading day and then the weekend leading into next week, and kind of see how volume picks up from there. But again, until we break this swing high, if we break this swing high, then I'm just going to look at smaller picture. And I can even give you guys one right now, an extension if it breaks up higher. So if the price doesn't come down, break this swing low, finally come down, break below the blue and go into the red, then we can potentially be looking at, and this isn't super likely in my opinion. I don't think it's, this isn't something, I'm just showing it because there is a possibility, and that's where I plan to start, changing my view. This is that early indication for me to, change my view and then start a new little bit of an outlook for when I want to open a trade. But if the price holds and it comes up into this area, then we're going to use another retracement tool, which I won't draw right now, but a retracement from here to however high the price goes. And then from there, we'll look to see if that new support can hold to confirm a continuation of a rally that can hold above the swing high, right? So, but none of that is important right now because it's not happening. This is just an alternative scenario in case I am wrong with my primary one. But as of right now, unless we start flirting with that swing high, overall, I'm going to let the price fluctuate and let the price eventually come down. And I'll begin buying the second we break the swing low to let the momentum bring down the price into the more important support accumulation area before. And this will be ideal because it will have a very healthy correction. It will let, bulls reset themselves to push the price much, much higher. So regardless, even if we come down, or if we just have a bullish confirmation from here, regardless, the price outlook is much, much higher. So, but again, this will be a very good buying opportunity that I'm paying attention to. So that's what I'm looking for. Now with Mara, and something very similar is happening with Mara, although you guys got to remember, and I explained this very well in yesterday's video. So if you go to yesterday's video, July 16, there'll be a broader explanation of this. But overall, we know that Mara is highly influenced, but not completely, by Bitcoin, just because it is a company and it has its own expenses within it, and operating outlooks that have to hold for the company to stay healthy and for expectations to stay realistic with the growth of this company, and of course that will influence the stock price. But as of right now, ideally, if Bitcoin can show that short-term weakness into that support area I'm talking about, we could potentially see Mara fluctuate within this area right here. So it's simple, I mean, even at this point, because we've been trading, we came down into support briefly, go up. We have enough time within this price action to indicate a potential second wave happening. Ideally, it will be first wave down, second wave up, third wave down, finishing the overall one more low, and then we can start going up into the next area to potentially start selling, just in my opinion, because this is where I believe once we break into this area, we can start seeing volume decrease, and we can start seeing some choppiness, indicating that potentially it's trying to form a price high, at least within the structure, right, before we look at another retracement. So in order to really take advantage of this in the most ideal way, in my opinion, to not be overly stressed about it, it's simple. Is you could do something like accumulating a core position with Mara, or you can do something less risky if you just see it that way, which is accumulating Bitcoin on a core position on the side, a primary position that you plan to hold throughout the rest of the bull run, and then you can take small, higher risk but smaller position size trades with Mara, so that way you're not completely just overly focused on one, and you can overall benefit on the overall move. But basically, in my opinion, the best way to approach Mara right now is to be very patient, because even with this dip, the RSI just came into fair value. It wasn't even discounted, indicating that there's still more room, more momentum for the price to continue down lower. And now with the current, price action that we have, I mean, as you can see, there's, and I'm gonna delete this, but this is just to illustrate. There's the possibility of the price with the current fluctuations that it has. A simple fib extension tool, super simple. We can easily come into this red area. Now, it just depends how Bitcoin unfolds, of course, because we can either see it come down, find support within the orange, which will be a little bit of a, it'll still be a lower low from here, but it will allow the price to have a retracement from this whole move down. And this retracement is just an estimate because we haven't actually like held within the orange just yet. So it's just an estimate. So then we come down, go up into whatever the retracement will be at the time, officially, and then one more low, finishing the red a bit more, because this could be a very shallow test of the red. Simple retracement, bullish fake out, allowing the price to come down one more low, deeper into the red, and then we go up higher from there. But we can also see something like we've seen in the past, like right here when we found support within a retracement, we go up higher, and then we finally test the red, and then eventually, as you can see, it was a bit shallow. We go up, bullish fake out. As you can see, it looked like the price is going to go up much higher, but instead, we had that one more test to, hit that 0.5 retracement at the time, $13.50. And then from there, we go up into the next, sell area, which, as you can see, it held really nicely as a sell area. So we can see something like that. We can either come into it once. I mean, if we start seeing signs that, recovery, maybe, it's a little bit too oversold in the short term, they're going to come up into retracement, which may look as a bullish fake out. And then we have that one more test, which then at this point, like a lot of people that got overly optimistic or overly hyped FOMO, then that's when they start to flush themselves out, potentially allowing the price to have that deeper dip and then higher. So, the idea here is to, focus on position sizing, in my opinion, because if you focus on position sizing and not get overly hyped, not fall into FOMO, then you won't be one of the people that are buying just because it came down, it starts to go up higher. But hey, there's signs that it can actually have a short-term top right here. And then we can start seeing some bearish volume. And then if you're one of the hyped up people that bought here, and a similar indication exactly like this is right here, where we come down, we go up, we didn't even break the swing high, but everyone's getting super FOMO, and we haven't even broken that swing high. And then we have that one more test deeper into the red, as you can see. And then from there, patience pays off and it goes up higher. Now, it doesn't have to play out that way, but, we have enough of a time duration before the FOMC where we could potentially see fear, some weakness forming, allowing a similar structure to happen. And then FOMC comes out and maybe it's it's not as bad, or maybe Jerome Powell reassures another 1 or 2 rate cuts this year. And then, bullishness, right? And then that can potentially lead us into this area. There's a lot of ways this can play out. This is why I'm being very patient, and I'm, stressing, in my own opinion, that it's very, very important to just let time do its thing, to allow the really good setups to really present themselves instead of falling into FOMO, trying to force trades, being impatient, and then of course that can hurt you, most likely. So yeah, hopefully this video made sense, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.